beings of the universe. If you clicked on this video, that means that you exist. Please continue to exist. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, please like, and if you did not enjoy this video, please let me know why in the comments down below. Or if you have anything else to say to me, please let me know in the comments down below. I'd like to talk about my personal experience as an absolutely obsessed player of Outriders in 2023, and I'd like to talk about the general experience of what it's like to play Outriders in 2023. Basically, Outriders is a PvE live service shooter, and let's talk about the most important thing in a PvE live service shooter for a lot of people: the player base. The player base in Outriders has dwindled significantly since release, and it is very low today. Anyone who would like to get in on a match with PvE with a co-op member still can, but you need to utilize spaces like Discord or utilize spaces like Reddit, where you can go and just, even like YouTube, you can drop your gamer tag, or you can find somebody else who has a room open or a party open. You need to utilize third-party services in 2023 for Outriders, and that might dissuade a lot of players because they just want instant matchmaking. They want to instantly be able to jump into a game with other people, rightfully so. If you want to play with somebody else in co-op, you can, but it is a bit difficult. You must go on Discord, you must go on Reddit, or you must go on YouTube in the comments and find somebody. Personally, I don't mind that process. If you do, let me know in the comments down below. Moving on to the gameplay. The gameplay in Outriders is as solid as ever, if not the best that it's ever been in the whole, history of the title. The updates that we've had, all the different improvements and refinements in the game that have been released for free. I'm not talking about the Worldslayer DLC. I'm just talking about the updates in general that have been released for it, have all made the game a breeze and a joy to play. I really think that the gameplay is so solid that it overshadows really any other aspects with the game. Yes, the story's light. Maybe there isn't too much of a PvP thing. It's only PvE only in a competitive sense, I'm saying the PvP exists within the PvE. It's like, whoever gets the larger score wins the match. There's not a player versus player with their Outriders build. It's you competing with your Outriders build against another player, seeing how many points you can score. You're not actually physically competing against each other. So if you're looking for a PvP title, you're not going to find it in Outriders. If you're looking for a PvE shooter with a small player base, you have found a good thing in Outriders. Basically, the abilities in Outriders are incredible. The weapons in Outriders are incredible. Everything about the game just feels solid to use. It is such a good power trip. You really feel unstoppable, especially if you play on the lower tiers where you can just breeze through the enemies. It is amazing to play. You feel like an absolutely unstoppable being. It is an absolutely incredible power trip game. You feel like the Terminator, you feel like Rambo, you just feel unstoppable. It is one of the best power trip shooters of probably the last 10 years, one of the best power trip games. I really enjoyed it for that reason. It's just so much fun to play. Once you pick up that momentum and you just, start using your abilities and get used to everything, it is a breeze to play Outriders in 2023. Moving on to basically the biggest and most controversial aspect, the Worldslayers DLC. It is not a necessary thing to buy. It is absolutely a luxury to buy it. They start you at level 30 instead of starting at level 1. Or if you're already at level 30, you get bonus weapons, you get bonus slots in your weapons, so you can do much more complex builds, much more powerful builds. It really enhances the game. But it is not at all a necessary item to own if you are interested in getting into Outriders. Get Outriders for free on Game Pass. Get it for free on PlayStation Plus, and you will see what I'm talking about. You do not need the Worldslayers DLC in the game Outriders. The developer was excellent with balancing the game, whether you buy the game just as the base game or whether you buy it with the DLC. It is an excellent choice either way. And I'd also like to say that I see people being too hard on the developer for this. People Can Fly. Shout out People Can Fly for Bulletstorm. Absolutely incredible title. Would love to see a Bulletstorm 2. I would just like to say that I think they're being too hard on People Can Fly. I think that it could have been a contractual agreement or a corporate thing, or maybe they needed to get funding for their next title. I really think that people are too hard on them for it, and that they released it in a stellar way, and that they really did a good balancing act. They didn't overpower the DLC too much, and they didn't leave too much out of the base game where it felt empty. I really enjoyed the Worldslayer DLC, and I encourage anyone to pick it up who enjoys the base game. You know, there's some great sales on it. There's a sale on it right now on PlayStation Plus. I believe it's on sale on Xbox too. It is a great addition to the game, but it is not at all a necessity that you need to play the game. Moving on to PvP in Outriders, there is a complete absence of PvP. So if you're looking for a PvP shooter, it is not here. There is a competitive sense in the way that you can compete against other Outriders, see whose build is more efficient, see whose build earns a higher score and yields better rewards. But there is no, direct PvP in it, so it is lacking in that department. Personally, I do not mind games that lack in PvP because I am not skilled enough to do PvP with other players. I work for a living and I play video games on the side. One day I would love to play video games full time and be able to be good enough for PvP. But right now I do PvE games. Moving on to basically the last part, which is just a summary. I think it's a really good time to get into Outriders. I think that whether you're looking for a solid roguelike, whether you're looking for a solid shooter, whether you're looking for a solid third-person shooter, a solid ability-based game, much like Japanese RPGs or even Western RPGs, but more Eastern RPGs with very fast-paced gameplay, very minimal story, because Western RPGs tend to have a more intense story. Very minimal story in the sense that it's a Japanese RPG, just arena-to-arena gameplay. You go to this arena, clear your enemies. Go to the next arena, clear your enemies. Very cartoony, almost tongue-in-cheek story, similar to the Dynasty Warrior series, as I mentioned, or the Gundam Dynasty Warrior series on the PlayStation 2 and on the PlayStation 3. I really enjoy games like that. Repetitive, simple, grindy, skill-based, movement-based, ability-based gameplay. I personally enjoy titles like that, which is why I thoroughly enjoyed Outriders. I think it's a great choice and a great time to get in it, especially since it's now free on PlayStation Plus. The player base is coming back up a little bit, but it is a very niche title. You need to enjoy repetitive gameplay, and you need to basically really enjoy the grind. If you don't enjoy the core gameplay loop and the core gameplay mechanics, it is a very difficult game to get into. I personally enjoy the grind, and I personally enjoy the gameplay mechanics. I like going from the same arena, 5 times, playing the same arena 10 times in a Dark Souls type of way. Learning the different quirks of each enemy, learning the different quirks of the arena, where you should stand in each area, I really like this process, this cognitive process of really learning everything about the environment, not just breezing through it and going on to the next section. I very much enjoy the Dark Souls series in that type of way. It's very methodical gameplay. It's very strategy-based. As much as it is a third-person action title, it is also a strategy title. You must know how each enemy operates. You must know the strategic zones of each arena, and Outriders is very much the same in that way. I'd highly recommend the title to anyone looking for a solid ability-based shooter, anyone looking for a solid RPG-type game, anyone looking for a great looter shooter. The amount of loot in Outriders and the amount of armor, and they have really great art design in the game as well. That's another aspect I like to talk about. The enemy design is stellar. Okay, I really like how in different environments you'll be fighting alien species, and then in the next area you'll move on to fighting different factions of human antagonists. I really like the variation in enemy design and the variation in gameplay mechanics centered around each different enemy type. You must switch up your strategy from area to area, from arena to arena. I very much enjoy this very meticulous, very repetitive gameplay. So in a closing argument, I'd like to say pick up Outriders. If you're into simple PvE, ability-based, movement-based shooters, it is not a cover shooter. If you play it like a cover shooter, you will not last long. You must be mobile because you will get flanked. People will come up from behind you and find you. The AI in Outriders is excellent. I'd like to give a round of applause to People Can Fly for the AI in Outriders. It feels at certain points during the campaign and during the end game that you are playing against other humans. I really think this is an amazing title. It's a work of art, in my opinion. This is one of the best games of the last 10 years. I realize that's a controversial statement, but it is what I believe. Beings of the universe, thank you for being here today. Thank you for clicking on the video, and most importantly, thank you for existing. If you are currently existing, please continue to exist. Please have a wonderful period in time in your life, whether it is the morning, the afternoon, or the evening. Please have a wonderful time. Beings of the universe, thank you.